I caught my husband cheating with my own sister. Yeah, let that sink in. The man I loved, the man I shared my nights, my secrets, my soul with, was tangled between the sheets with my own blood. The betrayal burned through my veins like fire, but I didn't scream. I didn't cry. No, I did something they never saw coming. I smiled, because if they thought they could break me, they had no idea who they were messing with. My name is Valeria Sinclair. I'm 32, a corporate lawyer, and the last woman on earth you should ever betray. I didn't get to where I am by being weak. I built my life from the ground up, turned nothing into everything, and yet the two people I trusted most decided to play me for a fool. My younger sister, Celeste Sinclair, gorgeous, reckless, and always jealous of everything I had, and my husband, Adrian Calloway, tall, charming, successful, but underneath it all, a goddamn snake. It happened on a random Tuesday night. I was curled up on my couch, sipping a glass of red wine after a long day, when a text lit up my phone. You deserve to know the truth. An unknown number. Attached were the pictures that shattered my world in seconds. Adrian and Celeste, half-dressed, tangled in each other's arms inside a dimly lit hotel suite. His lips on hers, her fingers gripping his shirt like she belonged there. My husband, my own sister. For a moment I couldn't breathe. My mind refused to process the filth in front of me. But then, something inside me clicked. The pain twisted into something darker, sharper. Oh, I was hurt. But more than that, I was furious. They didn't even have the decency to hide it. A week later, Celeste and Adrian sat me down like some pathetic intervention. Celeste had the nerve to squeeze my hand, her blue eyes fake with guilt. Val, we didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean for this to happen? I repeated, letting out a slow, bitter laugh. What, you tripped and fell onto my husband's dick? Celeste gasped, but Adrian, oh, the bastard had the audacity to look annoyed, like I was being unreasonable. It's not like that, Valeria, he said with a sigh. We fell in love. Love. They called this love. I sat there, silent, studying them. Celeste, desperate to justify her betrayal. Adrian, already looking at me like I was a problem he needed to get rid of. They expected me to scream, to break down, to throw a fit and walk away like the pathetic ex-wife in every cliché story. But that's not who I am. I leaned back, crossed my legs, and tilted my head. You're right, I said smoothly. Maybe you do deserve each other. And that was the moment they made their biggest mistake. They thought they had won. They thought I'd walk away quietly, let them have their disgusting little romance without consequences. But they underestimated me. Celeste had spent her whole life trying to be me, stealing my style, my confidence, my success. But what she didn't realize was, she wasn't built like me. Adrian? He was nothing more than a weak man who liked easy prey. And I knew exactly how to tear him apart. First, I played the victim. I let them believe I was shattered. I moved out of the house, pretended to grieve, let them flaunt their relationship in public while the world whispered about me, the poor betrayed wife. I let Celeste think she had taken my life, my happiness. But while she was busy basking in stolen attention, I was setting the stage. It started small. A few rumors planted in the right ears. A few whispers about how Celeste had a thing for rich married men, how Adrian had a history of straying. A few well-timed messages to their friends, making them question everything. Then I made my move. I walked into the charity gala draped in a dress that made heads turn, my arm linked with Lucas Sterling, Adrian's former best friend and business rival, a man Adrian despised more than anyone in the world. Lucas wasn't just a power move. He was my revenge wrapped in a $10,000 tuxedo. Adrian's jaw clenched so hard I thought he might snap a tooth. Celeste tried to act unbothered, but I saw it. The flicker of jealousy, the panic creeping into her perfect little fantasy. But this was just the beginning, because their wedding was coming up, and I had something special planned, something that would ruin them forever. Celeste thought she had won. She paraded Adrian around like a trophy, showing off their disgusting, stolen love as if it was something to be admired. Their wedding invitations went out within weeks, the hypocrisy dripping from the gilded envelopes. I was even invited. Bold move, Celeste. She wanted me to watch, to sit there, humiliated, as she walked down the aisle in the dress I should have worn, whispering fake apologies while smirking behind my back. She wanted me broken. But what she didn't realize was that I wasn't just attending their wedding. I was about to set it on fire. The night before the ceremony, I made my final moves. Every chess piece had been carefully placed. The rumors I had started were already spreading, infecting their social circle like a virus. The doubts were there, whispers at every party, questioning Celeste's real intentions. Was she ever faithful? Would she do the same to Adrian one day? And Adrian? He had no idea I had been feeding those insecurities like poison, slowly unraveling his trust in her. But the real bomb? That was about to drop. The wedding was extravagant, an over-the-top luxury affair with crystal chandeliers and thousands of white roses dripping in expensive vanity. Celeste always wanted the fairy tale, but what she was about to get was a nightmare. I arrived looking breathtaking, black silk hugging my curves, diamonds glistening at my neck, my lips painted in the deepest shade of red. Eyes turned as I walked in, whispers echoing through the crowd. But my eyes? They were locked on Adrian. His gaze flickered over me, the briefest hint of regret flashing in his expression. Good. Let him drown in it. The ceremony began. The guests fell into a hush as Celeste walked down the aisle in her stupidly expensive dress, looking like she had just stepped out of a bridal magazine. She had the nerve to glance at me, smug, victorious. Oh, honey, you have no idea. When the priest asked if anyone had objections, I stayed silent. Not yet. I wanted them to believe they had gotten away with it. That was the fun part. They said their vows, exchanged rings. Adrian lifted her veil, ready to kiss her, to seal their disgusting betrayal into some twisted reality. And then the doors burst open. Gasps filled the church, because standing there in front of everyone was a woman, blonde, stunning, and very, very pregnant. Meet Naomi Quinn, and guess who the father of her unborn child was? Oh yes, Adrian. Celeste froze. Adrian's face drained of color. The room was so silent you could hear a pin drop. Naomi stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said, "but Adrian, you promised me we'd be together." The collective gasp from the guests was delicious. People started whispering. Celeste turned to Adrian, her face twisted in rage. "Tell me this is a joke," she hissed. But Adrian, he couldn't. His lips parted, no words coming out. He was caught, trapped, destroyed. And me? I just sat there sipping my champagne, watching the perfect storm unfold. Because what Celeste didn't know was, I had found Naomi. I had tracked down the one woman Adrian thought he could keep a secret. The woman he had been seeing before he even started screwing my sister. The man was filth, and now everyone knew it. Celeste slapped Adrian across the face so hard the sound echoed through the hall. The guests were already murmuring, pulling out their phones, recording every second of the disaster. The beautiful, expensive wedding? Ruined. But I wasn't done. Oh no. As Celeste stormed off, her dream wedding turning into her worst nightmare, I stood up, walked gracefully past Adrian, past the stunned crowd, and whispered in his ear, "You should have chosen better." And then I walked out, head held high, hips swaying, leaving them to rot in the mess they created. But the real revenge? Oh, that was still coming. Because I had one last trick up my sleeve. The wedding was in ruins. Celeste was humiliated. Adrian was exposed. But that wasn't enough. No, I wasn't just here to break them. I was here to bury them. I walked out of that church with a smile on my lips, knowing that the world had just witnessed Celeste's greatest downfall. The whispers spread like wildfire. Social media blew up with scandalous headlines. And by the next morning, every news outlet was talking about the disaster of the year. But I wasn't done, because the best revenge isn't just ruining their wedding. It's making sure they can never rebuild. The first step was Adrian. I knew him better than anyone. He was proud, vain, obsessed with his perfect image. And now, he was the guy who got caught cheating on his mistress with another mistress. On his own wedding day. His business partners, they didn't like that. You see, I had inside knowledge of Adrian's company, his deals, the dirty little secrets he kept buried under polished suits and fake smiles. And in the weeks leading up to the wedding, I made sure those secrets found their way into the hands of the right people. Contracts terminated, investors gone. Within 48 hours of his public disgrace, Adrian lost everything. His stocks plummeted, his business partners cut him loose, his reputation destroyed. And Celeste? Oh, my dear, pathetic sister. She thought she could run from this. That after the wedding disaster, she could lay low, wait for the scandal to die down, and slither her way back into high society. Not on my watch. Because I had one final bomb to drop. Celeste wasn't just a husband stealer. She was also a fraud. For years, she had been embezzling money from the charity she worked for. Money that was supposed to go to orphanages, schools, real causes. Instead, it funded her designer wardrobe, her luxury vacations, her desperate attempts to outshine me. And I had proof. Bank statements, secret transactions, receipts. It took one anonymous tip to the authorities, and within days, the story broke. Celeste Sinclair, the same woman who had just been publicly humiliated at her own wedding, was now facing an embezzlement investigation. Her accounts were frozen, her fake friends abandoned her, she had nowhere to hide. And as for Adrian, with no job, no income, and a pregnant ex-mistress demanding child support, he was drowning. The last I heard, he was living out of a cheap motel, begging for second chances. Celeste tried to call me once. I let it go to voicemail. Then I played it back, laughing as she sobbed, "You ruined my life." "Oh, Celeste, you ruined your own life. I just handed you the mirror. As for me, I thrived." Lucas Sterling, the man I walked into the gala with, Adrian's biggest rival, was more than just a power move. He was mine now, and unlike Adrian, he knew how to treat a woman like me. The scandal made me more powerful than ever. People respected me, feared me, admired me. I was no longer just Valeria Sinclair, the ex-wife of a cheater. I was the woman who turned betrayal into power. And as I sipped my champagne, watching the world burn around Celeste and Adrian, I smiled to myself. Revenge never tasted so sweet.